xRhythms.
So my name is Rejoice and I am the xRhythms content controller, which basically means that I control and manage the content on this platform that you're watching right now.
So the first question is, how do you feel Black people are represented in the media?
I feel it's quite a mixture in terms of how they're represented. It varies a lot from, I guess, people who are famous. I guess you can think of like the Stormzy figures, that type of thing, who tend to be represented, quite well in good light. But then in other pieces of news and things like that, for example, when you're looking at, gang culture, stuff like that, where you tend to see a lot of young black guys involved in it, and then they tend to be represented quite negatively. If you want to look more recently in the case of Richard, the young guy that went missing, it wasn't actually reported much on the news, but it was shared a lot on social media. So in some cases, I feel like they don't share enough about the Black people, or they don't highlight them as much. But overall, I think it's quite a mixture.
So that leads me into my second question, really, of do you feel like your race has impacted you getting your dream job or reaching the goals that you set out for your life?
Personally, no, but that's because I'm in an incredibly privileged position. But often the case is that there's, certain areas in the UK that are populated with a lot of ethnic minorities, so that's Black and just other, people who are not from the UK. They tend to be classed as more of the lower class areas and whatnot, and so automatically their schools and the teachers and the equipment and the resources doesn't tend to be as good as in other more, white areas, because they're deemed as, not as affluent or something. And so because of that, they already don't have the equipment and they don't have certain educational tools and this, that and the other that, to help them learn and help them be on the same educated level. And just based on that merit in itself, they're already, at a disadvantage. Other things can be just general, prejudice and general certain biases that people might just have when it comes to doing stuff like job interviews or getting certain types of universities, things like that. People who already have these biases in their heads and these ways of thinking, when they see a certain name, whether it's an African name, a Caribbean name, or any other ethnic minority name, they've already prejudged and pre-made a decision about that candidate and about that person. And because of things like that, ethnic minorities in general feel like we have to work a lot harder in order to achieve. Like I said at the beginning, for myself personally, I feel like I haven't. A big part of that, I think, is because I came from a very privileged background. Both my parents have PhDs in engineering. I've been able to attend my dream university that I wanted to go to. I'm working currently in my dream job and so on. I'm a Christian, I believe in God, that I feel like God has led me into the places that I've been able to go through. He's opened up the doors.
Do you think the video of George Floyd being put online was a good idea or a bad idea?
There's a number of different ways to kind of look at it. There's pros and there's cons to it, really. If you want to look at the cons and the bad things about it, is it's a violent video. It's not a great video. It triggers a lot of things. If you were a family member, you wouldn't want to see that happen to your family member and to have that video literally circulating online. On the other hand side, I think there was a lot that came out of that fact that that video was shared. Awareness being a massive part of that. Because of how viral it went, it brought that topic to light, and it meant that even us here in the UK, even our media stations were talking about it. They then had to start talking about this issue that has been happening, but just hasn't been showcased as much.
That really leads on to my next question of, it's recently been a year since the anniversary of George Floyd and the Black Lives Movement. Do you feel like the Black Lives Movement has affected people's views on Black people?
Oh, 100%, yeah, 100%. The movement last year caused conversations that hadn't happened before to happen. And conversations between friends, conversations between families, conversations between colleagues. Yeah, I think a lot more support has been given out there for Black people as well as Black-owned businesses. I'd say a lot of attitudes have been changed. It's like a little awakening, a spiritual awakening for a lot of people. yeah, a lot of good has come out of it.
Cool. Well, that's the last of my questions. I want to thank you again for being here and taking this time to record this. Been lovely speaking to you, Joyce. I'll end it there. See you in a bit.
No.
Bye.